Broadcasting live from the Carter Subaru Studios. You're listening to KIRO Nights. Happy Tuesday. I'm G. Scott. My co-host tonight, that's Aaron Mason.
What's up, G. Scott?
For those that have been listening for a little bit, which you should be listening every single night, Aaron Mason is co-hosting with me the rest of the week, so he's going to be hanging out. And make sure you stick around because at 8:30, it's called Aaron Mason. Yep, that's the 8:30 segment. That's what we're going to be doing at 8:30. Drew, am I right? It's called Aaron Mason.
Yeah, I think you got the name right.
Yeah. So, well, what are you going to be doing? I don't know. We're going to be doing something at 8:30. But anyway, the text line, Online Trading Academy text line, it is 98973. So, KIRO Nights, we're family, and I like to tell you guys stories. And something happened last week, and I think I handled it. I hope I handled it the right way. On mynorthwest.com, there is a story that I wrote, and it's titled, I was called the N-word last week, and this is what I learned. So that I can kind of take you through it, I'll just read you the story really quick, and then we'll kind of go into it. All right, here we go. It starts off, I was called the N-word last week, and it reminded me of a story. I was playing a basketball game in Topeka, Indiana, back in December of 1989. It's so weird to me that I can't remember your name if you just told me, but I can remember dates of things that happened to me 30 years ago. I was shooting the ball really well this game. I remember my coach telling me to just keep shooting it. The kid who was guarding me was not having a good game at all. Everything I did well on offense, I did even better on defense because I kept stealing the ball from this particular kid. I could feel that he wanted the game to be over with really soon. Now, during the game, I could tell that this particular kid I was guarding had his family watching. They were all together. I can see them right now in my mind as I tell you this story. Jacob, good job. Jacob this, Jacob that. It was going on the entire game. It was during the fourth quarter. I was dribbling the ball down the court. I'm coming down on the left side of the court. Jacob comes out to guard me outside of the three-point line. That's when I hear, "Get that N-word, boy." This came from Jacob's cheering section. It actually came from an older lady that had been doing most of the screaming during the game. It felt like my entire body wanted to fall to the ground. I picked up my dribble. I passed the ball right away. As I'm running through our motion offense, I could feel the energy transfer happen between Jacob and I. I know he heard it because he was now working harder, and I was all of a sudden really tired. I didn't want the ball anymore. He actually scored a few more times before the game was over. My team still won the game, but I never scored another point. I didn't even shoot the ball again. As soon as the game was over, I ran to the locker room. I didn't want to shake hands. I didn't want anybody to see me from the team at all, especially I didn't want to face Jacob. My team then went to get on the bus to leave, and everybody was excited that we won. I was sitting there wondering if anybody else heard that lady say what she said. Apparently not, given how everyone was celebrating. I didn't speak the entire ride back to school. I didn't talk about what happened until I saw my dad. That was about 2 weeks later when my dad picked me up for winter break. Just a reminder that I attended military school and lived away from home. I told my dad everything that happened from the beginning to the end. He smoked a cigarette as I told him the story. He finished it up by the time I was done. Then he grabbed another and lit it. I remember him calmly saying to me, "Champ, that word is a weapon. It is used to do exactly what it did to you. They used that word and it got you off your game. They saw you having success, which made them afraid. Then they used that weapon and it worked. Learn from this and promise me that no matter what, even if when this happens again, you will not get down. Just know that this is being used as a weapon and they are trying to stop your success." So last week, when it happened again, I was reminded of my father's words. A person sent that word to me in a text message to the KIRO Nights line that you guys are listening to right now, which allowed me to see his phone number. I was able to find out exactly who it was. First name, last name, location, everything. Just so you know, it says, "Face it, G, you're a blank." You know what that means. You see, people getting caught doing or saying hateful things every day, then it's all over social media. That person might have a family and might have a job, but that hateful act puts everything in jeopardy. There's a lot of it going on these days, but on this particular day, I learned something new. I was at work when this happened. I didn't say anything to my coworkers that night. Even though Frank Shires is upset that I didn't say anything, we'll get to that in a second. But later, I did get a text from one of them. That text actually came from Drew. In the text, it said, and it's probably about 11-something at night. It said, hey, man, I want to address something that happened tonight. I saw what a texter called you. I blocked him and didn't want you to see it because I didn't know how you would take it, and I wanted you to be able to focus on the segment. I'm feeling a bit guilty about it because I know that you did see it and took a picture of it. I don't know how to handle things like that, and if it's a conversation you want to have or not, I'm cool with whichever way you want to handle it. Love you, man. I did text Drew back that night, and I said, hey, man, all good. Really appreciate you sending a text to me. Means the world. Thank you. See you tomorrow. Now, I learned that when hateful and racist acts happen, it can hurt others more than the person it was intended for. You see, all of us are affected by racism. As you can tell right now, it is having an effect on our country. Ignorance is brought on by fear. My coworker has a heart of gold and has probably never encountered something like that. Instead of saying something right then, he was probably in shock, just like me back in December of 1989. Still, it meant everything for me, for him to text me that night and say what he said. The moral of the story is I wish my father was here today so that I can tell him that I didn't get down at all. I would tell him that it empowered me to do more to help others. Yes, even those that are saying hateful things today, there's a possibility that they won't say it tomorrow. Thanks, Dad. And so that was the end of the conversation, and that way you guys know what took place last week. Mace?
Man, I want to respond to something that I feel like I can respond to. Okay. Because I don't know what it's like to be in your shoes.
Right.
I don't know what it's like to have a word like that.
Right.
That's used as a weapon
sure.
like that. Right. Drew, I wish more people, and this is where I'm at. I don't know if I'm right. Maybe I am, but it's where I'm at right now. I don't know how to handle things like that. And if it's a conversation you want to have or not, I'm cool, whatever way you want to handle it. Love you, man.
Right.
Like that to me, that's a big takeaway.
It definitely is a big takeaway. And I think, and that's why when I wrote this, I wrote it in which is someone called me the N-word, but I learned the lesson. And the lesson is this. The N-word was intended for me, and two people saw it, myself and Drew. I think Drew was more affected by that night than me.
Yeah.
Because now here he is in a situation where he's sitting next to a coworker, and I know, that's not something that happens, right?
Right.
Drew he just had his coworker be called the N-word right in front of him.
Right.
So here he is. We're on the radio. What do you do? Do you say, hey, coworker, did you see somebody call you that? Or do you pretend as if you don't see it?
Right.
So I know the emotions that Drew had going back and forth were probably unbelievably so. Whereas me, I see it, take a picture of it, and I'm thinking this should be a lesson. And the lesson was, I'm going to find out this person's name. I'm going to find out their address. I'm going to find out everything about them. And I'm not going to tell anybody. I have all of that information. And I could easily have put it all out there on social media. But what does that do?
Right.
Because that's the problem what continues to happen. Like, yeah, so what? I put it out there. I absolutely destroy this man's life, possibly. But there's a good chance that I destroy his family's life,
right,
his kids, or whoever it could be.
And then that becomes the situation, and not what we're talking about here, which is learning and a lesson. And when I read this earlier today, I got a little teary in my eyes because I didn't have a dad around, and for him and all the stories I've heard about your dad and the way you talk about him, the things that he instilled in you, the way he talked to you, the lessons that you learned through him, like now here we are, and because of the way you handled the situation, we're learning those things too.
Right.
You're opening our eyes, the other people, the white people in this room,
right,
to experiences that are, I don't want to say old hat to you, but that you've been through and learned from. And so you're in a different place.
What I want to do, Drew,
yes.
I don't want to put words in your mouth.
Surely.
It was your situation. You saw it happen. There must have been some crazy emotion out of you. There must have been something that you had to probably like go back and forth with yourself, because you never said a word to me until later on that night.
Yeah, I was really, I was very much in a place of like, I don't know really what to do about this. You had left the studio because we were coming out of a break, and I happened to see that come in on our little text message machine. And then I looked over on your screen, I saw that it was open, and I saw that exact message had come up, and I closed the window. I reached over on your computer, and I closed the window.
Did you?
I did, because you know what? I really didn't know how you were going to react within that moment, and we were coming back to another segment. Gotcha. And I wanted you to be able to have kind of a clear mind heading into it. I didn't know how you would react to all of that. I think you have a tremendous way about you and how you process things. But I also think that you're a very passionate dude, and I wasn't sure. Because, like Aaron said, I can't commiserate with that at any point. I wouldn't know how that would affect my mentality going forward. The best that I figured I could do was, at least for the moment,
get it out of the way,
and then maybe we could address it later. And it truly did eat at me until 11 o'clock at night when I texted you.
I bet you were struggling worse than me.
Yes, definitely. Because I was like, all right, well, obviously I'm going to block this person right now, but what else do I do about it? I know that G is going to open the text message thing back up again, and then he's going to see it. He's going to be upset that I closed it without him seeing it. Do we have a conversation about this? Do we talk about it on the air now? Is it something we'll come back to later? Is this something he doesn't even want to have a conversation about? There were so many other avenues that I didn't know where to go down, just because I have zero experience with this.
And I think as I wrote this, and the lesson in all of it, and this is where we have the opportunity. And Frank, I'm going to talk to you in a second here, because Frank came into work and he says, "Hey, G, I need to talk to you," and we'll get to that here in a second. But this lesson in all of this is a true microcosm. Drew, in the way he felt seeing that, is really what's going on in our country right now.
Yeah.
Let's be real. Okay, I'm going to be crystal clear about something. There are people that voted for Donald Trump that aren't racist. Okay?
Yeah.
Let me be clear about that. There are people that are white that aren't racist. There are people that are black that aren't criminals. Right. But you know what you do have? You have all kinds and all different colors. You know what I mean? And so with that being said, it's creating this uncomfortable part in our nation, because for so long we have not had conversations about race, and it's never been proper time and place. We never talked about it in school. We never talked about it with our families. We never talked about it with our peers. We're either with our same people that are like us and in the same culture. And if we are mixed cultures, like, hey, let's don't talk about that. Oh, that's not a good time. Hey, that's not a good idea to talk about. And so what has happened is we are in this environment right now where there's everybody, oh, you're racist, you're racist, you're racist, you're racist. No, not everybody's racist. And another thing, I will say this. I believe that somebody can call me that word and might have black family. Because, again, if you go back to what I said in the article, the word is used as a weapon, because hurt people try to hurt people.
Right.
And some people, and let's be real, the way we see people committing suicides today, there are a lot of people that are hurting. So you get an energy and a response out of doing something that happens that way. Frank, you're upset. You're upset a little bit.
I wasn't upset. I was annoyed. But it had nothing to do. It had nothing to do. Well, I was annoyed because of how I found out about it. Because I don't have the text thing
line
open.
Right.
I could, but I just don't. It just doesn't really connect with me. I just don't like finding out. I mean, I perceive the night show as a family, and I feel like, from my point of view, I got your back, and I assume, maybe wrongly, but I don't think so, that you have mine.
Right.
And so finding out about it in a blog post doesn't make me very happy, because they're messing with somebody in my family. They're messing with a colleague. They're messing with somebody that I care about, and that is not something you put off to me. That is something that when it happens, it immediately there is a response. And I was angry at the texter right out of the box. I suppose maybe it's a good thing that I didn't see it that night, because I would have been massively PO'd, because that's just my, you don't mess with somebody that is family.
Yeah. In that case that night, I think the best case was not to bring it up to either of you. You see what I'm saying?
But see, I think that's sad, because it is you've already had to endure that crap your whole life. Okay? And there's and there's something to me that is fundamentally very lonely about having to shoulder that kind of a burden all by yourself. And while I respect you for making that choice, I think it's a noble, admirable choice. It doesn't make it necessarily right. You don't have to shoulder that crap by yourself.
But see, I don't shoulder it.
Well, you do briefly.
I do, but you got to see. See, I
you
don't
let it go, is what you're saying.
No, I don't let it go.
Okay.
Because I've taken that.
Channeled it.
I've channeled it.
Compartmentalized.
Taken that moment. Yeah. I've written about it. It's spreading all over the article. Now I'm sitting here on KIRO Nights and I'm telling this story. Mm-hmm. And if it just be one person, it takes one person to read that blog post. It takes one person to listen to our conversation we're having right now to say, you know what? I think I'm going to change my ways. Mm. I think I'm not going to be hateful anymore. It only takes one. Because if you think that back in the day, back in the 40s and 50s and 60s, that there weren't many people that were coming around saying, you know what? I should maybe stop being so hateful. And it's some of those people that decided to march with Dr. Martin Luther King. Because the truth of the matter is, Dr. Martin Luther King does not get a lot of things done. The civil rights does not get done without white people. Mm-hmm. I hate to bust your bubble, but it does not continue. So don't feel sorry for me, because actually I was able to take this moment, take the teachings of my dad, use it, and give it back.
Okay.
I'm good.
That's fair.
I'm speaking for those that don't have a voice in this world, because there's somebody right now that gets called that, and they don't have an opportunity to write. They might not have a dad who's able to tell them, and they don't have an opportunity to have a platform to get on KIRO Nights.
Love it, G.
You too, brother.
Yep.
Coming up next, Aaron Mason. He's our co-host. He's got something special he's going to be doing here at 8:30. We're going to see what that's about. You guys are listening to KIRO Nights. I'm G. Scott. That's Aaron Mason.